stepped up really well, and they kind of won the lane by themselves.
Yeah, Lulu kept getting hit by bindings over and over again, and I'm pretty sure that Lulu Kate is supposed to be able to bully out that lane. I mean, you just have more range, you have more pushing potential, but because he kept getting hit by those binds, they got chunked out early and they just lost their turret early. And yeah, it just turned out really bad for them. I'm not sure if this is bad play, nerves. It just didn't look like Bunny was comfortable in Lulu compared to maybe his like Thresh or his Leona.
Yeah, what do you think that might be on Bunny's side?
I'm not entirely sure with Bunny. I still feel like he's a bit of a Thresh or bust player right now. I know the rest of the Curse team has a lot of confidence in him, but when teams take a Thresh away from him, he's still adapting to play the different style, and it doesn't necessarily work with Cop. This overall, though, was a really strange game. I feel like both these teams are still kind of reeling from their defeats yesterday because it was not 100% from both teams as far as I could tell.
Yeah, it seems like there are a few parts of the team that stepped up really well. I thought, again, CLG's bottom lane, they won their lane for themselves. CLG even started out with a 3-turret lead. It seemed like early laning was going their way.
Yep.
And then things got a little weird. They took a couple of bad team fights. Like, what was up with like Curse just like randomly coming back into fights?
I mean, it looked like Curse has an all-in, we're going to pick you off and assassinate you comp. I mean, Akali's, she's an assassin by nature. But I didn't really like their team comp because they only had one way to play it, and that's just, we got to go in. And, of course, you have Ziggs, who has an insane counter engage. He just throws out the Mega Inferno Bomb, puts all the minefield out, and you just have to run into all that and take all that damage when you come in. And it looked like Boy just didn't have an impact when it came to mid and late game. He just got exhausted and pop.
All right, so let's actually pull up our first replay then. It's actually when Curse was actually doing very well in the mid game. It's around 20 minutes in, and Curse get a dive here that sets him up pretty nicely in the mid game.
Yeah, let's just figure out exactly where we're going. Yeah, this was a big dive by I Will Dominate, and honestly, when they all go all in, it worked pretty well for CLG. Quas was an absolute monster. It was just a matter of not all getting hit by the Ziggs Bomb. That was a fight where the Ziggs Bomb didn't completely destroy them, and then they had no damage left to really peel Quas out of it.
Yeah, I think that was really big that the Ziggs ult missed, because if you look in the fights that they won, really huge damage to just blow everybody up when they came in. But because they couldn't hit that and they couldn't layer that damage on, they couldn't kill Quas. Like, Quas is just a monster here. They don't have enough damage to take him out at this point in the game. But of course, once Double Up gets Last Whisper, the story kind of changes.
And Quas also went pretty offensive for a build. I think
he
would have went a little bit tankier. But seriously, after that fight, you could see the power in Curse at that moment. They were kind of in position to control the game from that point, but they just weren't able to.
Yeah, our featured matchup was Yen versus Quas. It seemed like Quas just completely destroyed and sort of carried that mid game through. And it was until CLG actually got themselves to some real team fights, right? On the caster death, we talked about it. CLG turtling for a while when they were behind. You think that's the right choice, where it's like, guys, things aren't working, wait it out?
I don't know if they had the intention of turtling, because there's that one fight where they just Curse just kind of tower dove and just lost all their momentum off of that. And on top of that, Renekton does bully Shyvana in lane, and of course he's just stronger in lane. He's a stronger early game champion. But once Shyvana gets some items and matches up with them and gets in these team fights, just because of her passive and the way her kit works, she just scales better in the late game.
Okay, well, actually, the fight you just mentioned, we have a replay. That one actually is the Curse over dive that turns into the Kind of Logic Gaming Baron. If you want to put that up on the screen, you guys want to walk us through what happened in this fight?
There were a lot of mistakes on both sides if we just go right into this, because Curse was feeling overconfident, but they dove pretty much when they were out of minions just because Quas was there. Voyboy went in way ahead of the rest of the team. It kind of seemed like he just had Zanya, so he wanted to bait with it.
Yeah, if you look, when he's coming out of the tower, he's actually tanking turret hits. So at this point, Voyboy is a non-factor in this team fight. He can't even go back in because they had to blow all the heals and the shields on him, and he just can't go back into the fight. There's nothing on him. And
Bunny Fufu down, Quas low. This was kind of a funny moment in the game because I was saying, CLG, just do Baron, just do Baron. Not because it was a smart move. I just knew it would create chaos and that I wanted to see it. And then CLG, since they had been losing, kind of saw an opportunity and were maybe just hoping to draw out Curse mistakes.
Yeah, I thought Curse was just going to get them off of Baron and then back out on this. But they commit a little bit too hard, and you can see Voyboy gets caught out here. Quas and Dominate try to go in to help him out, and they just get cleaned up off of this. And of course, that's just going to mean a free Baron for CLG.
And the strangest thing all about this was just how much they split up. You can see I Will Dominate flashed in one direction, and then we were both confused as to what was actually going on here. What is Bunny Fufu thinking?
I think he was trying to get to Dominate to get the ultimate on him, but
he lost control of the map.
Yeah, he
didn't think about it.
I don't think he's looking at his character. He's just looking, he's like, I gotta get to Dominate, I gotta get this ulti. Oh my god, I'm in the middle of 4 people.
Yeah. It was a really unfortunate play that he hasn't played much Lulu before, and I've brought this up before as far as people playing new champions. You can play the champion just fine. you can play the laning matchup. You can concentrate enough. These pro players are good enough for that. But then, because you're focusing so hard on one thing, you forget about others. At that point, he was like, awesome, I'm Lulu. I can get the ultimate on this guy. There's 5 people in the way.
Yeah. I definitely think he wasn't as mindful of his positioning, and that showed actually in yesterday's games. He had a couple of fights where it looked like he was looking at the team fight and looking where I got to get shields on these people, I got to get ultimates on these people, and he was just out of position because he was focusing on that.
Yep.
So then, looking forward to the next game, then Counterlogic Gaming, early lead, lost some focus. Curse, too aggressive for their own good. What are the changes these teams need to make to have a good showing in game 2?
I feel like this is actually still Curse who played better in this game if they can just eliminate their mistakes. CLG didn't impress me too much in this game. They stuck with it and played consistent, but they weren't making the same actions that gave them victory in their first game from TSM yesterday. If Curse can limit their mistakes and dive a little bit smarter, I think they'd take this to a game 3.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I could definitely see this going 2-1, either team's favor. Just looked like Curse got a little bit overambitious, I want to say, and they didn't sync up their dive quite right. But it just took all the turret damage and came in a little bit late. And this happened multiple times in that game. So I think if they can just sync up their engages, it'll be a lot better for them.
All right, we'll see if these guys can do it. And now that CLG's 1 win away from locking in, third place, we're going to see if they can get it done in the next game versus Curse. But as we go to take a break, we just want to remind people